What's up, sons? It's Blind Red with Son of a Tech once again, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for any technical difficulties. We're out in Wisconsin. There is potentially a storm coming in later today, and we're on Wi-Fi. So at this point, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's just going to be a little bit spotty. So if we end up having too many issues and we need to stop the stream because you guys aren't able to follow along and record this basically separately, please let me know in the live chat and we'll go from there. Hopefully we can get through it. I knocked it down to 720p 30 FPS, so we're just gimping along to the best of our ability here. But joining me today is Austin Childress with ASIC Ninja, and on Twitter you are CHR. What is it again?
Crypto Miner
CHR. There you go. So you guys can follow him. I have him tagged over on Twitter. So if you're following me already on Twitter, you can do that. So other than that, today we are going to be talking about quite a few things that are happening. Binance has now suspended USDT and USDC deposits on the Solana network. Now, of course, this is more than likely due to the relationship between FTX and Solana, which we've been talking about Solana being a centralized piece of, proof of stake, there we go, coin for quite some time. And it looks like, obviously, once we start hitting these bear market woes, these proof of stake coins seem to start struggling a little bit more, especially the more centralized they are. That being said, on the proof of work side, everybody is getting out of centralization. Bitcoin exits from crypto exchanges, and that has risen to over 220,000 Bitcoin in the past 10 days. And that's despite all of the large exchanges coming out with their proof of reserves to show and prove that they have a one-to-one backing of all the currency that's in the exchange, of course, due to the fallout of FTX. And the big news of the day, too, the Ethereum Foundation has removed the estimated withdrawal time frame for staked Ethereum. Yes, you heard that right. You can no longer potentially ever withdraw your staked Ethereum at this point because, well, if you did, the price of Ethereum would tank. Let's be honest, that's what would happen. I also have the numbers for the total amount of Ethereum that is currently staked, basically the amount of Ethereum that's not available to the network. And we'll talk about that here after we get into the main meat of it, which is talking to Austin here about essentially the program that I'm out here observing today, which is in Wisconsin, and it is an ASIC mining training course. And I'm going to talk to him a little bit about what he's going over with the students that are here, any future plans that are going to be basically any more training programs. If you guys are interested, down below, I do have a link to the December training, which Austin, you're going to be running as well.
Correct.
Yeah, and I have a 5% coupon discount if you guys are interested in that. So without further ado, let's run the ad for you guys, and then we will hop right back into it. Today's spot isn't really a sponsor. It's more of just an opportunity for you all if you have interest in ASIC miner repair. ASIC miner repair is currently in high demand, and right now there are certification trainings that you can do in Wisconsin. Now, I have some links down below the channel for a November batch and a December batch for certifications for ASIC miner repair. So if you have interest in micro soldering, Bitcoin mining, just general troubleshooting, and of course making money, then go ahead and check them out. You can use promo code SONOFATECH for 5% off. Yes, I know that's not a huge discount, but it is a discount nonetheless, and it's something that I wanted to bring to y'all because I know we've been discussing the high demand for it in the chat and also just the channels that we communicate on, both on Twitch and YouTube. So definitely check that out. And I will be at the November event. So if you want a chance to meet me, you could sign up for the November event, even though that is short notice, and I would be happy to try to meet up with you out there. There we go. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So joining me today is once again Austin Childress, and he runs an ASIC training program, ASIC repair training program out here. And tell us a little bit about it, the overview, I guess.
Yeah, so basically we cover from the basics all the way to the more advanced. So we do everything from cleaning, operation, maintenance, all the way down to consolidation, chip level repair, board level repair, kind of cover all the different main spectrums. So whether you're a beginner, don't know where to start, or you're a more advanced technician, we cover a lot of the different spectrum of how to do the maintenance and repair.
Nice. And this program's a little bit short, right? It's a week long,
Correct. It's a 5-day class.
5-day class.
So
Okay.
it's really immersive, and we give you a lot of information.
Yeah. So you got to be prepared to learn and be ready to go because it's going to come pretty hard and fast usually, or
Somewhat. It kind of goes at the pace of the students as well.
Okay.
So
so a little bit more focused on each individual student.
I'd say, yeah.
Yeah.
Try
How
to
many
make sure
students
their
do you guys
skills are
have?
kind of building up, and
Nice.
I think right now we have about 12 students.
Okay. So out here right now, it's a really cool setup we're going to be showing you guys. But essentially what they got is the complete setup for you guys to learn about ASIC repair and, well, really small electronics repair in general, right? So you get a
Yeah.
little bit of that.
That's what the best thing about coming into this industry is that using this kind of knowledge, you can transfer it over to phones, TVs, any kind of electronic repair in general.
Yeah. So that would be super helpful, I think, in general. So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing it for a few years now. Started out of my own apartment, kind
Yeah.
of built it out, and pretty much had a complete repair facility in my apartment. So now I'm just independent right now, and I've been going around helping all the main facilities, independents, kind of learn this trade. I know it's a very sought after trade right now. Almost every single shop I know is looking for technicians to hire, and they're asking me to try to help them locate them. So
Right. So
definitely
this
doing.
isn't the only thing you do, right? You help train up for other facilities and so on as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, this is I'm actually happy to present this being open to the public so anybody can come in. Usually I just go out to the facility, or you have to contact me directly. I'll do some one-on-one, whether it be virtual or in person.
So this is really the first one that's open to the public that you've done.
It's not just after a little bit of time
Yeah.
being able to offer it again to
Okay.
the public.
Nice. Cool. So what got you into Bitcoin?
I just always wanted to get into crypto in general. Actually started off trading like Dogecoin before it was even a penny. Uh, and I don't know, I just kind of had some personal stuff that happened, and then just really wanted to get into the field. So I just kind of bought some miners, some S9s, and started tinkering with them. And then basically there was a moment. So I was trying to flash the control board, and as I was pulling it out, it ended up sparking on me. I kind of thought to myself, well, this control board's probably toast.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, let's try to, see if we can get it repaired. Looked into it, and there was very little information at the time on how to even go about starting to repair these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just from there, just dove in and tried to learn as much as I could. And before I knew it, I became one of the most experts in the industry, teaching pretty much everybody in North America, and doing a lot as well around the world, virtually, and now more in person as well. So
Nice.
get to
So
travel.
so what do you think the number one skill to get into ASIC like repair is or would be?
Just in general, there's a huge need for technicians, whether it be operations, maintenance, all the way down to even, chip and board level repair. They're in really high demand. There's not very many techs out there that even know even a little bit of what they're doing.
So even just getting a little bit of knowledge could get your foot in the door into this industry at this time kind of thing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So like your best bet would be just to start applying for jobs and then maybe do like a course like this just to kind of get an idea, and then it's really just going to be hands-on work that needs to get done.
Yeah, especially coming through a course like this, it kind of can get you prepared to know exactly what the different tools are, different materials. During the interview, usually they'll have you sit down in front of a workstation and ask you, what do you actually know? I know some shops are more picky on the technicians they hire. They have to have a lot of experience as well as experience repairing. unfortunately, there's not very many out there.
Yeah, like how many techs are out? What's the average length of experience for a tech right now in this industry? Not very long, right?
Yeah, most are like a month, 3 months,
Yeah.
maybe
Not
you know,
even
a few
not
or a
even getting
year,
into the
but
years,
yeah.
yeah. Because I know, like, I just recently picked up a new job as a Linux sysadmin, and just like looking at the, you know, that job took 10 years experience that I had to prove. Like, for IT, if somebody like is in their, late 20s, early 30s, and they want to make a move into IT, it can be pretty daunting, right? It's like, well, even if you have the certifications, you got to compete with all these guys that have been working in the industry for like decades, right? And like that's super hard to get into. But in the Bitcoin mining industry, right, and Bitcoin or mining in general, the amount of experience is low because the industry is so new. So you have some opportunity to maybe like make shifts as you get a little bit older, right?
Yeah, I'd say that for sure, especially since this is kind of a new industry. This kind of repair is different from regular repair. I have people that have been doing electronic repair for years and years and years, and they're still calling me asking me, how exactly these things work.
Yeah.
How do you diagnose them, that kind of thing. So definitely a lot of room for opportunity.
Sweet. So give us, we already did a video with you going like over all of the kind of the basic tools last time I met you out at the mining conference down in Texas. And then I saw you guys had a couple new tools. Is there something you're super excited about? I saw like a new tool you were messing with. What is that and what's the intention of it?
Yeah, so I've just been kind of trying to find all the, best tools that can help, maybe they're not necessarily necessary,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it can help diagnose things. I have a lot of different testers that are now available on the market. So you can go ahead and get those ordered for me, as well as I'm getting starter kits put together again,
Okay.
parts kits.
So like basically you have like a tool and parts kits, like basic starter kits.
Yeah,
Where can you access those at?
I'm gonna have them on my website again.
Okay. And where's that at?
Be cryptominerchr.com.
Okay. .com. Okay. Cool. So just follow along for that, guys, if you're interested in finding out more about that. I guess it's not up right now. You're going to be adding it over there in a little bit.
Correct. Yeah, you
Okay.
can contact me directly right now and I can get you started.
Okay. Cool. Awesome, man.
Yeah, it's not even just for Bitmain or What's Miner or Kanon or
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff that can work for a lot of different manufacturers as well.
So what's your favorite manufacturer?
Ah, well, you're asking the wrong kind of person. I usually don't like to be biased in any kind of way per se.
I understand that. Let's go with this. Which one do you have to repair the least amount in your experience?
Probably the ones that people don't really repair much because there's not much knowledge out there.
So it's more about a knowledge problem and they're just broken still?
Yeah, I'd say, Bitmain kind of did it right in that sense that they came out with the training program and they came out with all the manuals and materials to help repair technicians actually maintain and repair their machines.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about that. Like, what are your opinions and thoughts about the Bitmain? They have their own training program as well. And you had a little bit of a hand in that as well?
I'm actually a Bitmain lecturer, so I do a lot of the door-to-door and some of the online trainings. Also have helped out a lot of technicians get certified in MicroBT, What's Miner. I'm also working with Avalon to try to get a training course going as well. So that way it can help us as technicians be able to repair their products and make us feel a little more comfortable in actually purchasing their products and using them for our mining needs.
Because Avalon, there's only there's even fewer technicians for Avalon. That's my understanding, right now.
Yeah, especially in the U.S.
I've literally
it's
only
mostly
heard of
more
one
like
guy in
Europe
the
and
U.S.
Russia. So yeah, they're a little more new over here, but they're becoming a little bit more well known.
Okay.
One of the competitors of Bitmain and MicroBT, I'd say right now, besides like Gold Shell.
Yeah.
Silicon seems like they're kind of falling out, but we'll see if they.
Well, they put so much into the ETH miners, right? They put a lot into the ETH miners. Because that was the big deal, was like the Silicon A10s or whatever for the longest time.
And there's even less technicians that know how to work on those because it's more like a GPU repair.
Yeah.
So you have to use a BGA machine versus using like a hot air gun or a soldering iron. So it's like a whole nother learning field, if you will.
Yeah. So before I let you go and get into news topics today, I was going to see if chat has any questions for you. So if you guys want to post in the chat any questions you have for Austin surrounding like the programs that he teaches or anything along that line, just let me know. And then we'll get into talking about, I guess, some of these, essentially go into our normal news cycle for today.
All right.
So I guess the first question is, obviously the market's taking a dump right now. With everything going on, do you still want to repair ASICs?
Absolutely. Not me personally. I mostly just do training now. So unless I'm showing someone else how to do the repairs, but definitely right now, that's what everybody seems to be trying to get into. They're starting to realize, oh, we need repair techs. We need people who can.
But do you think that it would be a good industry to get into with the amount of pain like the Bitcoin mining industry is in right now?
Well, that's kind of what makes it that much more sweeter is that you can take machines that are, even cheaper and repair them. 'Cause during the bear market, you can buy the newer units for a lot less, and you can buy them broken, fix them.
Yeah.
Or maybe you have them mining right now, they break down. A lot of these shops are trying to at least do like a first part repair. So they're doing all the basic stuff, reattaching heat sinks, maybe doing some reflowing.
Okay.
And then just send off the boards that need more difficult repairs.
Nice. Bojangle says, give us the approximation of when the kits are coming.
I'm trying to get those done pretty fast, so maybe in the next week or two.
Okay.
Have them available.
And then just ping me, and then I'll let everybody know. Tomic says, what is the average cost to repair an ASIC? I would assume that would be pretty dependent on the individual ASIC, right?
There's multiple factors that are involved.
What are those factors?
So each facility is different. That's why it's good to do your research. Maybe they're just going in, they don't do a cleaning of the unit. They just go in and try to repair it and send it back dirty.
Okay.
Maybe they'll be cheaper. So you kind of want to do your kind of research, see exactly what they're doing in their process. As far as price ranges, it can be as cheap as like $30, $50 to all the way up to like 250, 500. During the bear or the bull market, it was all the way up to like $1,000 a hash board. So that would be like $3,000 just to fix a unit.
Okay.
So it really depends on the market as well as what they're doing and what they're fixing.
Right, because the ASIC market's weird because it fluctuates based on the market, right? I mean, to be fair, the GPU market did the same thing, even though the GPU market does have a separate outside market from just crypto. But how much are these kind of markups that you see, when we go into a bull run and you see, for example, the S19 hit like what, 15 grand or something like that. But then right now it's clear that that their manufacturing cost, their BOM cost must be much lower because you can pick up like an S19 for like 3 grand now.
Yeah.
And that's like straight from like that's not straight from Bitmain either. That's just from like a third party. So these markups kind of seem a little skeezy sometimes as far as like it goes from the manufacturer and from the suppliers. Whereas I guess like, I don't know exactly what my question is. Okay. So do the repair costs typically follow that same pattern?
It does in a sense. So like during this bear market, most people are only working on the newest units because obviously there's still a little bit left in actually charging to do the repair. Doing the repair in itself, it takes a lot of time to work on these machines. So it's really up to the shop to decide if they want to let their tech work on it for a month or work on it for an hour. So then that also is a whole nother factor as well. you're not going to go and send in an S9 for repair when you can get them for like, 50 to $200, and
Yeah.
it's going to cost you $500 to repair it. You might as well go buy another one.
So what is the typical, do you have an idea on salary for like an ASIC repair technician at this time? Like an approximate, is there a range, like if you're looking into becoming like, I don't know, a Windows sysadmin, you might see something like in the South between 46,000 and, 90,000, depending on where you're at. Do you have a general range that you could give these guys an idea on?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that these technicians aren't getting paid what they actually are worth.
So the pay is lower than what it actually should be right now, you think?
In a sense, I mean, they get paid pretty well. Just depends on where you're at, but usually starting can be 15, $20 an hour,
Okay.
all the way up to like $30, $40, $50 an hour.
Is it usually hourly then?
A lot of the time it's hourly. Sometimes they'll also do like bonuses, repair so many boards and get a bonus kind of thing. Or
Okay.
buy the board, or if you do it independently, you can kind of create your own model. But my personal opinion, these technicians are doing some of the stuff that you see in the space industry, a lot of these other high tech industries.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of skill and knowledge and practice to be able to do this kind of work. And those technicians are getting paid over $120 an hour just to start.
Right.
So,
But the big goal would
comparison.
probably be utilizing it to get your foot in the door and then maybe move up to like project management or something along those lines, do you think? Or like big deployments, oversight of like that sort of thing? Or do you think there's like a real future where ASIC technicians in and of themselves end up being like closer to like the small electronics repair salaries and so on?
I do think so. Also, like we stated earlier, how you can cross-reference it as well. So getting into this industry, then you can get your foot in the door at another industry in general. So even if, Bitcoin goes to zero, there's always going to be other work that can be done, especially now that a lot of this manufacturing we're trying to bring back to the US. It'll make it so that way we can actually have more of a need for these kind of techs.
So this works out pretty well. Emil asks, what is the difference between common electronics repair and ASIC repair?
Just kind of layout, how they design the boards and the chipset and everything. A lot of the components are very similar. You have a lot of the same surface mounted devices, capacitors, resistors, diodes. Only thing that's really specific is obviously the ASIC hash chip itself.
Okay.
And how they kind of lay it out.
Like board layout?
But a lot of this stuff is on other boards that you see in electronics, like in your TV or cell phone or whatever it may be.
Okay. And then Zroku says, if I wanted to fix up a broken ASICs, where would I find them? I'm not sure what he's asking, to be honest with you.
There's lots of places you can find them. I know right now a lot of people have broken units just sitting there.
So
So
is
it's
it
kinda-
really just buy a lot of like broken units to have spare parts sitting to repair other units? I guess is he talking about like the individual ASIC chips? Like where do you get replacements for those?
For that, I mean, there's lots of different places. Like for Bitmain, you can get them directly from the manufacturer if you take their training.
So for
Same thing
Bitmain,
with,
you have to go
MicroBT.
you have to go to a Bitmain training course, and then you will
Pass
have
the
access,
certification.
and then you have access to replacement ASICs for
Correct.
Bitmain.
Same thing with MicroBT.
And MicroBT has their own ASIC repair training course too, and then if you take that, you get access to buying replacement parts from them as well.
Correct.
And you can find those training courses on their websites.
Usually, I think
Okay.
MicroBT might be a little bit more trickier, but
Let's see. RPN Shield says, have you worked on any jazz miners?
a few.
Okay. How do you like them?
Definitely interesting.
Yeah. Because wasn't there the accusation that jazz miners were just like fake at first? Like there was like some rumor that it was just like communicating with some like server farm in like China and then pretending to mine or something. I don't know. It's crazy. There's conspiracy theories going around it. So when you worked on them, like I assume a majority of those for the on the ETH side, right? That's what we're probably talking about here. Is you're just gonna have a lot of memory chips on them, right? Primarily.
Yeah, like kind of like the BGA chips. They're have a lot more soldering pads to it, so it's a little
Okay.
bit different. Uh, most shops will only do all the way to like the capacitor resistor side, but they won't touch that kind of work.
Okay. And then Emil says European versions. I guess are there differences between? I don't know what he means. Are there differences between European versions and I mean they'll all be the same.
I mean, sometimes the manufacturers will kind of ship out, different units to different kind of areas, market a little bit
That would
more.
probably mainly have to do with like the power supply though, right?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the same though. It just depends on the part that you plug in, so you can always get a cord that gives you that power. I know over in Europe they're already set at like 240 instead of over here we're at 110. So it makes it a little more difficult for us to do the bigger miners. And then now they're switching over to like 480, 417, so it makes it even more difficult to plug them in.
Alex asks, well, what's your opinion on submerging cooling or immersion cooling for ASICs?
Same thing with doing hydro as well. Just depends on how you build out the system. I could build a better air system than your immersion system as long as you build it right. So, I mean, there's lots of faults that can happen, especially since it's a little newer to the industry. If you're going to go out and build out like an immersion system or a hydro system or even an air system, it's best to test it first with like some cheap miners, throw in some like S9s in there or some older models and try to see if that environment's good, because a lot of the time environment's one of the biggest problems when it comes to mining.
Nice. Detroit Iris says, I've got a teenager into modding consoles. Can he take a course like this and succeed?
Oh, absolutely. That's where I started. I was modding Xboxes and PlayStations when I was a kid, so
Nice.
yeah.
Remember you could do the chip mods on the first Xboxes, and then like you could, I think we had like whole basically all the seasons of like The Office on it or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah. Download all the games and use hard drives
Yeah,
and
I
all
think
that.
at that time, what was it? I think it still was what was it OX, I don't remember, OXBC or something like that. Emil says, I was referring to the European versions, people in board repair and places to take those classes. Oh, no. Resources for taking repair courses in Europe?
Yeah, so there's some virtual ones. I'm also teaming up. That's one of the other things I'm doing is creating like a network for everything. So I'm creating a big list of all the different vendors, one of which is all the main trainers in the industry. So you can do a lot of virtual, as well as I'm trying to get some more schools going around the world as well. So,
Because you travel a lot, right? You were in Thailand here recently, just like last week or something?
a couple weeks ago, yeah.
This man gets around. Mine something says, how many coins have you mined from testing them?
A lot.
The benefits of repairing, all right? Don't worry about
It's
it.
just called age testing or
Yeah.
consolidation testing.
Throw it all
but
solo and hope you
know,
hit a
hey,
block.
it's better for it to fail on us than it fail on you. So
Derek says, do you buy ASICs for parts? He has two A10 Pros, and one of the boards caught fire, and the other one has a bad hash board. I don't know if Austin does, because Austin travels a lot, right? So do
not
you have your
personally,
own farm?
but that's what a lot of shops do is they'll take some of the other boards and
Combine them?
yeah, use those parts to fix the other boards.
Right.
I'm also putting together a recycling program as well. So I know a lot of shops throw away control boards, power supplies, and just kind of swap them out and
Yeah,
throw it in the trash.
That's a good idea.
Kind of helping the environment out and trying to go as green as possible.
Emil says, Well, come on, Emil. We'll talk about that over on locals later. Can't talk about that on YouTube. Give me a break, bro. I'm going to get into the news. Do you want to hang out for the news, or do you want to go check on the boys?
I probably need to get back to it to keep training these new techs of the industry. So,
all right. Thanks for coming on and hanging out. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to get the news done for the guys. We'll
enjoy.
We'll run this one more time real quick, guys, and then I'll be right back. Today's spot isn't really a sponsor. It's more of just an opportunity for you all if you have interest in ASIC miner repair. ASIC miner repair is currently in high demand, and right now there are certification trainings that you can do in Wisconsin. Now, I have some links down below the channel for a November batch and a December batch for certifications for ASIC miner repair. So if you have interest in micro soldering, Bitcoin mining, just general troubleshooting, and of course making money, then go ahead and check them out. You can use promo code SONOFATECH for 5% off. Yes, I know that's not a huge discount, but it is a discount nonetheless, and it's something that I wanted to bring to y'all because I know we've been discussing the high demand for it in the chat and also just the channels that we communicate on, both on Twitch and YouTube. So definitely check that out. And I will be at the November event. So if you want a chance to meet me, you can sign up for the November event, even though that is short notice. And I would be happy to try to meet up with you out there. All right, and we're back, guys. Thanks for chilling while I went and got all of the stuff that I needed done. Sorry it went black there for a little bit. I had to use the restroom. I wanted to get another drink too. So let's go ahead and get into news for the day. Hopefully everything works out. I'm just kind of waiting for everything to be confirmed. There we go. All right, so first things first, we got Binance, OKX, and Bybit suspend USDT and USDC deposits on Solana. The Solana cryptocurrency continues crashing amid the FTX crisis, plummeting 7% on the news of exchanges halting deposits of Solana-based stablecoins. Major cryptocurrency exchanges continue to carry out measures in the aftermath of FTX collapse, now halting deposits in Solana-based Tether and USD coin. Binance announced on November 17th that deposits of Solana-based USDT and USDC have been temporarily suspended until further notice on the platform. The exchange referred to the tokens as USDT and USDC, as the USDT and USDC stablecoins remain available for deposit via other blockchains. So specifically, this is only concerning Solana, right? Binance did not provide more information on the measure, and adding that it reserves the right in its sole discretion to amend or change or cancel this announcement at any time for any reasons without prior notice. Other exchanges such as OKX and Bybit have also delisted Solana-based stablecoins for deposits. OKX suspended their deposits at 3 a.m. UTC on November 17th, while Bybit reportedly disabled such deposits as of November 17th as well. According to the on-chain data, the supply of Solana USDC is 62% bigger than the supply of Solana USDT. The total amount of USDC circulating on Solana amounts to 5 billion USDC, or 11% of the token's total market capitalization at the time of writing. The total amount of Solana-based USDT stands at 1.9 billion tokens, or just about 1.3% of USDT's total market cap. So if we're looking at this right, I think that the total amount of USDC is a bigger deal, 11% of the token's total market capitalization compared to 1.3% of Tether. So Tether, from tell me if I'm reading this wrong, but it seems like Tether's in a better position here. Now, Solana is a decentralized blockchain with an associated cryptocurrency, SOL, that has been associated with having close ties with Sam Bankman-Fried's troubled crypto exchange FTX. Bankman-Fried was an early investor in Solana via Alameda Research. Of course, Alameda Research is the reason FTX is failing. Just so for the uninitiated that haven't been following the saga. Amid the ongoing FTX crisis, Solana has been tanking alongside FTX token and other associated coins. The suspensions of Solana-based USDT and USDC have triggered even more red for Sol, with the cryptocurrency plummeting 7% on the latest news at the time of writing. Sol is trading at $13.10, down about 60% over the past 30 days, according to CoinGecko. The news comes soon after Binance announced plans to remove USDC as a tradable asset from its platform. The exchange allows USDC deposits but automatically converts them to its own in-house stablecoin, Binance USD, which they've been doing that for a while, by the way, and I don't know how I feel about that. Let me know what you guys think. I'm not a big fan of the move for them basically auto-converting your stablecoin deposits. And that's kind of what they implemented that way before this entire debacle took place. And I am not a fan of having a stablecoin that's based on a centralized exchange like Binance. So I would rather have my stablecoins backed, separately in some sort of decentralized manner. Of course, that's pretty difficult to do when you're participating in a fiat kind of scene or realm, right? So there you go. That's my thoughts as far as that's concerned on the stablecoin side and specifically with Binance. But as a whole, we've been talking about Solana, the exposure it has to FTX, the nature of its centralization, the nature of the proof of stake causing the network to go down over, I believe now, definitely over 8 times, close to 10 times this year alone. So network reliability is bad. The exposure to FTX is bad. I don't know why you would hold any Solana at any point. Of course, this isn't financial advice. I'm just saying I don't know why you would. I wouldn't. If you're holding Solana, let me know why in the chat or in the comment section below. Does this turn into a game stonks type of thing or what? But there is more shady dealings going on. Someone made a killing on the rumor that Binance is about to acquire Voyager. Meanwhile, FTX crypto assets are now worth just $659. Binance is everywhere these days. Its founder, Zhao Changpeng, who also goes by the shorthand CZ, is giving media interviews left, right, and center, all the while adopting the role of the crypto world's newest white knight, replete with the entire regalia and pomp. After all, CZ has alluded to the establishment of a crypto bailout fund that will attempt to rescue viable entities that are, nonetheless, experiencing a liquidity crunch in light of the ongoing shockwaves that are permeating almost every sector of the crypto sphere following FTX's unexpected bankruptcy last week. The kind of volatility that is currently rocking the entire crypto sector is capable of making fortunes, provided that one knows which proverbial horse to bet on. And apparently, while someone does know, CoinDesk reported today that Binance is planning to revive its failed bid to acquire the bankrupt crypto lender Voyager Digital. Back in early summer, FTX had managed to outbid Binance's Voyager Sync. At the time, FTX's founder Sam Bankman-Fried was widely hailed as a knight in shining armor for the crypto world. However, now that FTX itself has become bankrupt, Binance is planning to step in. While this news broke earlier today, someone bet heavily on Voyager's native VGX token yesterday by buying 12,305 VGX coins, paying 3 ETH in the process. Today, as the rumor spurred a sizable rally in the VGX token, the speculator dumped the stake for 3.62 ETH, earning a tidy profit within the span of a few hours. Bear in mind that the unregulated crypto sector does not have insider trading rules. While we can't be certain as to the identity of the speculator, the kind of precision on display here lends the credence that the thesis that an insider was likely involved. However, I'm going to go ahead and stop them right there because WCCF Tech seems to do this a lot, and they seem to really have it out for cryptocurrency in general. And you can really see it in this article itself because, and this is what I wanted to highlight, the difference between like news we should be concerned about and news that is like specifically attacking crypto for the sake of attacking crypto. If you had insider information that this was going to take place, would you just put in 3,000 ETH? That's $3,600 to make basically, you know, not even $1,000 off of the trade. The insider trading for that makes no sense. WCCF Tech is on basically, you know, a vengeance trail to crypto for cryptocurrency, and it doesn't really make sense that you would see such a low, essentially, profit margin on insider trading. It's just silly, right? That being said, we do see a huge liquidation from crypto exchanges, and it's risen to over 220,000 Bitcoin in the past 10 days. The withdrawals began early in November as suspicions rose about FTX's solvency. And this is, you know, this is where we know we're getting to the bottom of a bear market, because every single time what happens is the people that are still in the market that are intending to hold their crypto pull out of all centralized exchanges, because these centralized exchanges typically begin to fail around this time. And it's not really outside of what we refer to as the typical like cycle, right? This is a standard halving cycle practice. This is not anything new under the sun, and I wouldn't take it as any sort of fear move or anything along those lines, outside of like fear of centralization being the one that ends up losing you all of your crypto. Roughly another 26,000 Bitcoin has been pulled from crypto exchanges over the past 24 hours. Bringing the total amount withdrawn since November 7th to more than 220,000 Bitcoin, according to data from CoinGlass. At last read, there were 1.87 million Bitcoin on exchanges tracked by CoinGlass, the lowest level in at least 1 year, and down from 2.11 million on November 7th. The fast pace of declines comes as investors move their Bitcoin into self-custody after FTX last week. First suspended client withdrawals and ultimately declared bankruptcy, putting into question exactly when or if customers might be able to gain access to their holdings. And at this time, what it does appear to me to be happening is you aren't going to see that crypto. I just don't think it's going to happen. What we saw was all the wrapped Bitcoin that was on the network was basically not Bitcoin. It was essentially FTT backed Bitcoin, or backed wrapped Bitcoin, which obviously that's not going to work, you know? So, getting hit the most over the last day was Gemini after the exchange paused withdrawals from its Earn program thanks to its ties with crypto investment bank Genesis, whose crypto lending unit was forced to halt withdrawals. According to the CoinGlass data, the Bitcoin balance in Gemini currently stands at just shy of 165,000 coins, down about 12.5% from roughly 188,500 24 hours earlier. That is simply insane, in my humble opinion. Losing 12.5%, of the total deposited Bitcoin is pretty crazy. Now, Gemini is a huge custodian, and they've been doing this for a long time. It would be very, very bad to see Gemini go under. Do I think they're going to go under? Not necessarily, but this does point out the clear failure in the cryptocurrency industry surrounding specifically the CeFi realm, right? DeFi appears to be okay, at least for the time being. However, we do have to talk about Lido. We do have to talk about Ethereum, which we're going to be doing here in just a second, because that does pose a risk to even the decentralized form, right? The DeFi. The argument there could be that DeFi is built on Ethereum, and Ethereum post proof of stake has been basically centralized to a point of failure, and that could be what we see, sure. But where is the big strain on the market that we see? And that has clearly been CeFi, basically centralized entities basically utilizing DeFi to get gains and then promising high returns to investors that deposit to their centralized platform. And then there's no way for you to actually get your money out All right. All right, we're back. Sorry for the poor connection over here, guys. It is just what we have to do or deal with. I think we'll do tomorrow. We might stream from the hotel itself. And then as far as when we get into the rest of it will be pre-recorded, I think, out here as far as that goes, right? So I think that we've covered, essentially the Bitcoin exit there. I think the last piece of that was, just in case you guys missed it, I will talk about this one more time. The noticeable decline in Bitcoin over the past week is also Kraken, where the Bitcoin balance at press time of 69,000 is down 27% from a week ago. Now, on top of that, the two exchanges with the largest Bitcoin balances that have are Coinbase and Binance, which have seen the most modest declines. They haven't seen much. So people seem to have a lot more confidence within Coinbase as well as Binance. Now, of course, if you look at the markets, you look at the big players as far as exchanges are concerned, and I think it's pretty easy to say, yeah, that makes sense, right? If you were going to basically say which exchanges have survived the most bull run, bear market spins, which ones are the best, those would be it. So I think it does appear that we are dropping in and out too much for people to pay attention to. I apologize, guys. I guess at this point we will just have to call it at this point. I don't know how to get a better connection out here. Let's see. It's mostly fine for you guys. What I'll do is I'll hit record, and then I'll record it as well. How's that sound? All right, well, I apologize. There's not much I can do as far as this goes. Tomorrow we'll try to do it from the hotel room. The hotel room had okay internet as well. We already talked about Gemini, but just more backup, just so you guys know exactly how much crypto is coming out of Gemini, because this is going to be a big one to track. Crypto exchange Gemini suffers 485 million rush of outflows amid contagion fears. Gemini suspended its yield earning program, shaking users' confidence in the exchange. Of course, that happened because of its connection with Genesis, and it is a lot, right? That's a huge outflow of crypto, and we're going to have to keep our eye on it because Gemini's pausing withdrawals and having issues with the earn program. Earn program, like, in my opinion, all earn programs are going to have issues right now. And so it's nothing really that surprising, to say the least. But the real fear, of course, is the contagion, right? So pressure is mounted on crypto exchanges and lending firms dealing with the implosion of top exchange FTX and its corporate sibling, trading firm Alameda Research. Cautious investors have scrambled to move digital assets from centralized exchanges amid growing concerns about solvency of other centralized exchanges. Crypto research from firm Delphi Digital wrote in a report this week. Binance, Coinbase, KuCoin have all experienced large deposit drawdowns. Of course, we said modest for Coinbase and Binance compared to KuCoin recently, and that's according to Nansen data. Some smaller platforms such as AAX and Liquid and lender Salt have halted withdrawals in the past few days. So some smaller ones we have to worry about. Multiple exchanges attempted to mitigate widespread fear by sharing or promising to publish their crypto holdings. High-profile industry figures are advocating for presenting proof of reserves and performing independent audits of crypto holdings on a regular basis. Let's go ahead and talk about Ethereum. Now, there is going to continue to be a debate between when Ethereum withdrawals will come, right? And this has been something that has been debated on Twitter by Michael Zotool, one of the core devs, along with, as far as following all of them, you got Tim Biko, who's been talking about it as well. Look, the way the core dev team works, it's going to be extremely difficult to determine if they will actually deploy with Shanghai or not, because you could get onto any one of the Ethereum dev calls and you could hear basically both sides of the story and the arguments going between them. The question is what are they saying to the public? And as of right now, this is where I have some concerns, because today Ethereum Foundation eliminates the estimated withdrawal time frame for staked ETH. Ethereum holders will have to wait for clarified information on when they can withdraw their staked ETH after eliminating the dates from Ethereum Foundation's official website. Ethereum has finally transformed from a proof of work to a proof of stake consensus mechanism after users waited in zeal for this transition for years. The real question looming in the minds of Ethereum stakers is, when can Ethereum stakers withdraw their staked ETH? A query that is still unclear today. Before the merge, it was evident that Ethereum Foundation's team had made an approximation of opening staked withdrawals between 6 to 12 months after the Ethereum mainnet merged with proof-of-stake Beacon Chain. Ethereum publicly displayed this information on Ethereum Foundation's official website. And I remember actually having this discussion with the team previously, where on Twitter with Michael specifically, because he's one that is a proponent of basically not having withdrawals with Shanghai, and me saying, well, it's stated here, like on the Ethereum Foundation website, ethereum.org, that it would come with the Shanghai upgrade. And he was arguing with me that no, that it's never been stated that it would come with the Shanghai upgrade. To which I replied, it's literally, and we screenshotted it, we talked about it on the channel. I showed you guys that they had committed to Shanghai being the launch of unstaking. And then basically the devs were like, well, no, we don't know. And they got really, really wishy-washy on it. And so the outlook is like, well, this doesn't look good. You need to be clear with especially at this point, with how centralized it is and how much the ruling class, the developers have, how much power they have over this chain. It needs to be clear when this is going to be unstakeable, in my humble opinion. So it does look like that after the merge, the Ethereum Foundation, probably after we had this discussion on Twitter that we talked about, they've now, silently removed it, right? They've removed or eliminated the information from the official website to avoid anybody like restless investors or people like me looking for it, right? It is unclear why Ethereum has concealed the information, but the most probable course is that developers are anticipating that withdrawals will take longer than 12 months. Since Ethereum opened staking pools to enterprising investors, users have staked more than 14.5 million ETH, equivalent to more than $18 billion with the current market price of Ethereum. Investors can earn from staking in three ways. The deposit makes staking rewards for stakers, which currently stands at 4.1% of invested capital. Investors may enjoy capital gains when ETH increases in value over the period, which, like we've talked about, is a problem because that incentivizes, of course, unstaking, which incentivizes basically a bank run on the staked ETH, which is probably why I think, in my humble opinion, you will see them continue to delay withdrawals. Validators earn from fees paid by users for every block validated. It is, however, unfortunate that Ethereum staking is currently a one-way ticket, only as the ETH Foundation has not issued any withdrawal means or dates. This implies that investors can't withdraw the staked or earned ETH. Enjoying staking rewards is limited only to validators of the proof-of-stake network. However, the validation fee is very minute compared to staking rewards. Postponing withdrawal dates is something that Ethereum fans highly expected. Ethereum had informed the public that staked ETH would not be available for withdrawal immediately after the merge. It is also likely that the process would be slow once the leaves begin, involving releasing withdrawals gradually and in the queue. The queue could last for months before investors could finally get their hands on unstaked ETH, even after the Ethereum permits withdrawals. And this is where I have a bone to pick, because what is this? This is exactly what CeFi has been doing. So what we're seeing is a centralized nature of controlling or monetary policy, manipulation of the monetary policy to basically falsely prop up the price of Ethereum post-merge. And this basically makes it look like to investors that it is worth a lot more than it actually is. And so you end up in a position where, frankly, like the everybody that is staking is going to be chomping at the bit to unstake. But as soon as they unstake to gain any of the rewards that they have, especially anybody that was staking when Beacon Chain really first unlocked, which was definitely sub like $400, those people are ready and chomping at the bit, right? They've earned a bunch of rewards. They probably want to unstake at least a bit of it. So what do? You got to slow that down, because otherwise you end up having a bank run no different than you see with CeFi. Platforms like Celsius, of course, and platforms like BlockFi and Gemini and KuCoin, anything centralized. So what does that look like? Well, it's really interesting, because what ETH looks like, what Ethereum now looks like, just from an objective standpoint, is a centralized shitcoin. That is what Ethereum looks like. It looks like it's essentially, even though it runs DeFi, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, you pull that curtain back, oh, DeFi on Ethereum is just a centralized exchange. That's what it looks like, right? It has the exact same interactions on a monetary policy that you see with CeFi. It's pretty crazy if you think about it. Now, I did the math for you guys too, because I wanted to show you guys this. But we have the total ETH staked right now, which is almost 15 million. So 14,989,247. That's at this time right now. Current APR is 5.3%. Keep in mind you can't withdraw that 5.3% right now, but it sounds good. And then the total supply is 122,373,866. We run that through a percent calculator right now, and you're looking at 12.2% of the total amount of ETH is currently staked. And so that's quite a bit, right? That's 12%, plus with the burning via EIP 1559, this does have the potential to basically increase, meaning that because all of the fees are burning and rotating those burns and ETH goes deflationary, it does mean that you could end up in a position where the amount of ETH staked eventually becomes more than the amount of, ETH that's available on the network, which means if you do allow unstaking, you do have this potential of basically a huge dip in the price. So I think they're going to have to mitigate that. Ethereum Foundation is clearly going to mitigate that by having this sort of queue system, which will basically kind of slow down the bleed, and you won't have a bank run on Ethereum staking, but it's something to pay attention to. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions in chat, of course. And then finally today, I did want to ask the question, have crypto because we have an opinion piece here from CoinDesk, have crypto markets finally officially hit rock bottom? Investors maintain confidence in crypto, but are anxiously eyeing developments that could sink prices further. While the recent spike in price volatility is subsiding, don't expect institutions to re-enter crypto markets with any force just yet. These large-scale investors have been spooked by recent volatility that is difficult to predict and may send their investment spiraling downward. Bitcoin support has already fallen about 13% over the past 10 days amid the unraveling of crypto exchange FTX. In its recent price, about $16,500 is less than a quarter of what it was just a year ago. But this latest twist is odd given investors' previous concerns about the lack of volatility that has plagued markets for months. For both BTC and ETH, the magnitude of price movement since January 2022 has been declining when using the average true range of daily price movement as a proxy. A lack of price movement gives investors less opportunity to generate gains. Now, as investors focus more on avoiding calamity than producing alpha, a new trading range appears to be forming at the $16,500 level for Bitcoin. Where previously we saw significant price agreement between $19,000 and $20,000 range, the recent turmoil has pushed that level of agreement down. For ETH, the spikes in price agreement are appearing at both the $1,200 and $1,100 level. Institutional investors appear to still have confidence about digital assets, but also find little reason to add exposure. Quote, right now, most of the institutional investors we talk to are content to sit on the sidelines and just wait. They have sworn off the space, but they're not doing anything in crypto right now, especially against this macro backdrop, end quote, Ben McMillan, CIO of digital currency index provider IDX Digital Assets, said. McMillan said the investors are anxious about future developments that could send crypto markets further spiraling. Quote, I think there's no question investors are waiting for the second shoe to drop. The million-dollar question is, how big is that shoe, he said. He added, quote, I've had several calls already today about Genesis halting withdrawals, which we saw. That's not to say there's anywhere near the risk there that existed with FTX, but investors are very skittish about any counterparty risk in crypto right now. And the bias is to get out first and reassess later. And not financial advice, but this is like my perspective in general, is usually when everybody is getting out is probably the time that it's close to start getting in, right? We talk about bottoms, we talk about highs. Is Bitcoin at its final bottom? You don't know. That's why a lot of people go with DCAing or dollar cost averaging, meaning they buy on the way down and they buy on the way back up, and then they sell a little bit on the way back up, right? So as you see the markets continue to go down, you keep buying, so your dollar cost averaging all the way down, so that when it starts to return up, your dollar cost average hopefully is lower than what the actual highs end up being. But if we're talking about is crypto at the bottom, obviously people have a lot of fear. There's less views on the channel. There's less views on all of crypto Twitter, right? There's less people investing. There's a lot going on here. The biggest thing, though, that I think this needs to happen for is to start teaching self-custody. And so when I see this happen and we start to reel back and get back into the fundamentals of Bitcoin, we train up a whole new class of people that are preparing for the next bull run, which means that the next bull run will have more participants than the previous bull run. This is kind of how cryptocurrency goes, right? And the culling that is happening right now gets rid of a lot of the people that aren't going to dive into the difficulty of self-custody, right? Or maybe not even understand the fundamentals of Bitcoin. So I think, like, as a net positive, this ends up being it ends up being a net positive, right? That's kind of how I see it. Now, I wanted to show you guys also as well, Caspa here, an FPGA that I'm looking at here. We got Caspa, a quick video on Richard Lowe's YouTube channel. We got 2.7 gigahash a second on Caspa. If you want to see the power, we're down here at about 93 watts, 93.8 watts for 2.7 gigahash. It doesn't mean necessarily that like it's dead, right? It doesn't mean GPU mining for Caspa is necessarily dead yet, but it's getting pretty close there. Now, it depends on who starts getting these rolled out, how many FPGAs get on board. Part of the problem is FPGAs are hard to get a hold of. Their manufacturing process is slower, so there's not as many, right? The real question, of course, later on will be, what happens with ASICs? Are the ASIC rumors real? How many of them are there? And that sort of thing. But if you were to basically take these numbers here, if you were to take the numbers for Casper right now at 2.7 gigahash a second at like 93 watts, and we put that into our handy dandy calculator and calculate that baby out at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, your profit after power is $1.18 a day. That's $1.40 a day in revenue and $1.18 a day after power. You know, those numbers don't look too shabby, if I do say so myself. So I'm working off one screen. I haven't been able to read chat a lot. We're going to get into chat now. And I'm going to basically, you know, remind you guys, super chats are never required, always appreciated, first to be answered. I do want to get out there and start making some more content for you guys. So I want to make sure that I utilize the time that I have to the best of my ability. So first we have Steve Mint. Thank you for the 1999 super chat. Says, still the best show on crypto, even with sound issues. Appreciate it as always. And tomorrow, like I said, hopefully we'll do a morning show a little bit early on. Please tag at Son of a Tech so I can basically be able to read your chat. And I'm going to back up so I don't bounce around as much. There we go. All right. It seems like maybe Sir Dante says, ask Tech any good news on Ergo. I haven't seen any good news on Ergo necessarily recently. A lot of what Ergo has turned into is, in my humble opinion, there's been some good development stuff on the DeFi side of things. And on, so basically, Ergo Pad, the Launchpad stuff. We've had the auction house stuff. Ergo itself is a chain. I haven't seen a lot of developments. For the most part, it appears to be focused on advertising, right? Ergo just appears to be in the spot where it's in the PR kind of phase. It's trying to boost itself price up with PR and running a lot of these videos and so on, which is fine. You need a little bit of that. It's probably better to do that in a bull run and work on the tech in the bear market, in my humble opinion. Bojangle says, that's how the tech looks like. Looks to be an L3 in front of you. Yes, sir. That's an L3 Plus over here. That's a Z9 Mini. Funny enough, I have two of those at my farm running right now, or each one of those at my farm running right now. Bitcoin is merge mining with this ASICs. Yeah, with the L3 Plus, you should be merge mining. Seeing that we have audio issues and stuff like that, and it makes it a little hard to get through chat, I just want to say thanks for the super chats again. Be sure to hit the like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell down below. I'm going to get back to work over here. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. Check out the links down below, and we'll have a better connection tomorrow. I'll see you next Tuesday.